today's topic is sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Here, flowering plant is an advanced feature of a plant. So basically, in plant, we have two parts. One is root system, one is shoot system. Root system is below the ground part and shoot system is above the ground part. So basically, if it is the ground level, so it is stem and below here these are the roots. It is the tip of stem. Tip of stem have gene called phloem. This phloem helps to convert stem into flower. And when flower modifies itself, flower is a reproductive organ. These are the petals. These are the sepals. It is receptacle. Inside it has gynoecium part. And to the gynoecium part, male part is also attached, but it is called as androecium part. So basically, flower have 5 parts. One is petal, which helps to attract the pollen grains, pollination agent, attract pollen agents. Second is sepal. Sepal helps in protection during bud stage. Gynoecium means female part, and female part have 3 parts. First is stigma, style and ovary. So the structure of gynoecium is, it is stigma, it is style and it is ovary. This is the third part. Fourth part is androecium, and androecium is male part. Male part have 2 parts. One is filament and second is bilobed anther. So basically, for the sexual reproduction, we just require the reproductive organs, and there are 2 reproductive organs here. One is male reproductive organ, one is female reproductive organ. Male reproductive organ is known as androecium and female reproductive organ is known as gynoecium. So we will classify and we will describe it thoroughly in this next concept. So this is the introduction about the flowering plant. Second word is sexual reproduction. So basically, first we will read about reproduction. So basically, this term defines re means again, and production means to produce. So when an offspring or organism produces offspring similar to itself, offspring similar to itself, it is known as reproduction. And reproduction is of two types. First is asexual reproduction and second is sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved. Here, no role of gametes takes place. And what are gametes? Gametes are the units of reproduction. Second one is sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, the most characteristic feature of sexual reproduction are gametes. So gametes are unit of reproduction, which are haploid in nature. So basically, for the gametes we just require the sexual reproductive organs, which are androecium and the gynoecium in the flowering plants. So reproductive organ are of two types. One is male reproductive organ and one is female reproductive organ in a flowering plant. So basically, male reproductive organ is known as androecium. So we will read about thoroughly in this part. Female reproductive organ is known as gynoecium. In androecium, as we have discussed earlier, that it have two parts. One is filament and one is bilobed anther. And in this anther, two lobes are present. Inside one lobe, it have two theca. So in two bilobed anther, we have total four thecas. If we will draw its diagram, it is typically a microsporangium which have four thecas, and inside this theca we have sporogenous tissue. These are sporogenous tissue, inside which cluster of cells are present. These cluster of cells are known as MMC, and MMC stands for microspore mother cell. And this is the typically a microsporangium. Microsporangium have total four layers. First layer is epidermis, second layer is middle layer, Third layer is endothelium, and fourth layer is tapetum. These three layers help in the protection, and this fourth layer helps in providing nourishment to the MMC. So basically MMC microspore mother cells are the gamete cells which will form pollen grain after the certain processes. So we will study about the process of pollen grain formation, which is known as microsporogenesis. By this term, what we can conclude that micro means small, sporo means spores, and genesis means formation. So basically the formation of microspores, which are typically haploid in nature, from these MMCs, from the MMC by the reductional division. And reductional division is also known as meiosis. So if we conclude it from diagrammatically, so basically it is a MMC and it is diploid in nature. So after this MMC will form two cells. After it, division takes place and it will form four cells. And this division is known as meiosis division. This is meiosis 1 and this is meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is like reductional division. So basically the number of chromosomes get half in these cells. It is two cell stage and both of the cells are haploid in nature. After second division, it is meiosis division. Meiosis division is equational division, and equational division will form microspore tetra, and each cell comprises n number of cells. This also contains n number of cells, n number of chromosomes, n number of chromosomes, and n number of chromosomes. So basically all these microspore tetra will get detached from each other by an enzyme known as Callias enzyme. These Callias enzyme will help to dissociate all these microspore tetra. So basically these are the four microspores, and these four microspores are functional microspores. Four microspores are functional microspores. So from each microspore we will form, so it will get modified. This is the outer layer, this is the inner layer, and it will show division. Outer layer and inner layer. Outer layer made up of cellulose plus pectin, and inner layer is formed of sporopolylene. And because of division, this single cell will convert into two cells. One is vegetative cell and one is generative cell. And this generative cell further will form two male gamete. And this vegetative cell will convert into polyploid. Previously we have discussed about male reproductive organ. Now we will discuss about female reproductive organ. Female reproductive organ this is stigma, this is style, and this is ovary. Inside this ovary, ovules are present. So if we will draw a micro megasporogenesis, here the process of the formation of ovule is megasporogenesis. So the process of formation of megaspore from megaspore mother cell by reduction and division is known as megasporogenesis. So suppose it is a megaspore mother cell and it is diploid in nature. So first meiosis will take place inside it. When meiosis one takes place, it will form two cells which have haploid in nature. Then meiosis 2 takes place, which is a reduction and division, and it will form 4 cells. These are megaspore, 4 megaspore. So first 3 megaspore are non-functional. So these will get degenerated. Only one megaspore will behave as a functional megaspore. So this functional megaspore, after this process, it will undergo division. It is karyokinesis. Karyokinesis simply means only division of nucleus. It will not form cell membrane. After this, karyokinesis 2 will take place and it will form 4 nucleus. After this, third karyokinesis will take place and it will form 4 set of nucleus. And after this, it will get arranged themselves at the poles of ovule. So basically, the upper pole is known as micropylar pole and lower pole is known as chalager pole. So it will arrange themselves in a manner that 3 cells will reach in the upper pole and 3 cells will arrange themselves at the chalager pole. And in the center, we have a central cell which consists of 2 nucleus. So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 nucleus. We have 8 nucleus and we have 7 cells like 1, 2, 3. This whole is considered as a 1. 4, 5, 6 and 7. So it is known as 8 nucleus, 7 cell stage. And it is a typically a mature embryo set. After this, pollination will take place. So basically pollination means when pollen grain reaches from anther to stigma by various means. By various modes of agents. So basically we have two types of agents. One is biotic agents and one is abiotic agents. Biotic agents are living organisms like animals, bats, and abiotic agents are non-living like water and wind. So basically, due to these agents, pollen grains will reach from anther to stigma. And pollination is of three types. One is autogamy, one is geitonogamy, and one is xenogamy. So basically, what is autogamy? Autogamy means same plant, same flower, consists of both male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ, and the anther of this male reaches to the stigma of this flower in the same plant and in the same flower. This is known as autogamy. In the geitonogamy, plant is same but flower is different. In the same plant we have two flowers and both the flower consist of male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ, and the anther of one flower will oozes out its pollen grain and that pollen grain will reaches to the female of another flower. This is known as geitonogamy. In the xenogamy, plant is also different and flower is also different. Both are different. They can be of same species and of different species. So this concept is known as pollination. And autogamy also have two types. One is chasmogamy flower and one is cleistogamy flower. So basically in chasmogamy flower always remains open. So if flower always remains open, then anther always present in the environment. Its pollen grain can reaches on its flower and to the flower of other plant. So basically it can show both self-pollination and cross-pollination. But in the cleistogamous flower always remain closed. Because of this close proximity, only the self-pollination is allowed. And self-pollination is a big cause of inbreeding depression. Which is a lethargic condition. So always nature contributes to the chasmogamous flower, not the cleistogamous flower.